All right, and we are back. Are we good? Ari?
Yeah, man, I'm here.
Yeah? All right, great. Let's get going.
Yeah, you're not.
It's good morning. All right. Lead the way, Ari.
Well, no, I thought you said
Ye-
something interesting when we spoke about this. So I thought you want to take the lead on the topic.
Oh, all right. Okay, so let me pull it up.
All right,
All
so
right,
we're
so
going to discuss
go ahead.
the Samoa Accord signed by Ambassador to Taiwan, Andrea Bowman, last week, Wednesday. So Eyewitness News has a story headline: SVG signs new deal that includes legalizing abortion, same-sex relations. So it says St. Vincent and the Grenadines is among countries that have signed the new partnership agreement with the European Union, which one Trinidad-based cleric says will impose abortion legislation, transgender, LGBTQ, comprehensive sex education, a whole range of values. Andrea Bowman, SVG ambassador to Taiwan, signed the agreement on behalf of Kingstown in Samoa last Wednesday. The accord, known as the Samoa Agreement, will serve as an overarching legal framework for the relations between the European Union and the Organization of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States, OACPS, for the next 20 years. So it caused quite a buzz on Facebook. There are a lot of negative remarks on the comments for this story on IWN's Facebook page. So what I came to understand is that the agreement will place us, the Grenadines, the African, Caribbean, and Pacific states in development partnership with the European Union. To a large extent, it is the renewal partnership, because the Samoa Agreement is an improved replacement of the Cotonou agreement between our countries, which technically expired in 2020. The Samoa Agreement could be regarded as a partnership for the achievement of the goals in accordance with the 17th Sustainable Development. The agreement is designed to help us to meet these goals, specifically in areas of social, infrastructural, and educational development through project crafting. But according to Eyewitness News, Roman Catholic Archbishop of Port of Spain, Jason Gordon, feels different.
Mhm.
As I said, he feels like it will impose abortion legislation, transgender, LGBTQ compensation, a whole range of values will be imposed because of the signing of this document. In response to this, I'll have to check the WEFM's page, because I knew we have put out something saying, okay, the Prime Minister Gonzalez says SVG has not signed onto any matter that alters law on homosexuality. So SVG has not signed onto any matter requiring us to change our law on same-sex marriages or transgender issues. There is only a matter before the court, a criminal code, that criminalizes homosexuality, and the government insists it is not unconstitutional. Any alteration in our existing law has to be done through Parliament, and there is no intention of the Parliament to alter any of our positions about controversial issues. So that's according to Prime Minister Gonzalez. I think
Right.
Augustine Ferdinand had also said something similar in the comments. I don't remember what is it that he said exactly. Roleza?
I think the notice that was put out after summed up what was said in the video Augustine had posted. What you
Okay, so it's
just
a
read
video he
summed
had
up, right?
posted.
It's a
Okay.
video he posted, but what was posted in the little snippet that you read, that's a summation of what was said in the video, right?
Okay.
So
So
right. So to take it, go ahead.
I was going to just read one more comment. Emmanuel
Mhm.
Kwashi had commented on the Eyewitness News. He said, the media has a tendency to focus on elements that will get society all riled up. In every trade agreement, there will be invariably be aspects of any deal that some members may not entirely agree with in terms of societal values. However, we're living in a globalized world and we must come to terms with it if we're going to meet demands and challenges of our contemporary society and future ones. The agreement offers tremendous trade relation benefits to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, such as partnerships to strengthen our local industry in order to maximize on exports. It offers duty-free access into the EU's market on certain commodities and so on. So I don't know what you were going to say, Roleza, your
All right.
comment.
So it's just to know that I think for the Caribbean countries, if I'm not mistaken, I was trying to find exactly where it was in the article. Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica did not sign on to it. As you said, or as you mentioned, from the agreement, the Samoa Agreement outlines common principles and covers areas including human rights, democracy and governance, peace and security, human and social development, inclusive, sustainable economic growth and development, environmental sustainability, and climate change, migration, and mobility. The 27 EU member states and the 79 African, Caribbean, and Pacific countries together represent around 2 billion people and more than half of the seats at the United Nations. Right? The EU said with this new agreement, the parties will be best equipped to address emerging needs, global challenges such as climate change, ocean governance, migration, health, peace, and security. All right. So, in essence, the signing on of the agreement, and I think the PM mentioned that it's a 400-page document. Included in that would be the issues in relation to matters concerning same-sex marriages, legalization of abortion, transgender LGBTQ, comprehensive sex education, and other issues, right? Now, I think, now what I'm about to say, it's not that I'm taking a stance whether for or against, but one of the things that I noted from the discussions is the general conversation that probably needs to be had within our society, right? Now, amongst ourselves in our group chats, we were speaking of there seems to be, or not there seems to be, there is a bit of a debate where it concerns our laws, right? Some persons may view our laws as being archaic. It still criminalizes homosexual activity. I'm not quite sure if it addresses right. So it criminalizes homosexual activity. I don't think it necessarily speaks to abortion in the sense where it's either legal or illegal. Somebody would have to correct me on that, but as far as I know, it's illegal. And it's all of these quote unquote modern issues that's coming to the forefront, right? Now, one of the things that we have to look at is that we are saying that St. Vincent and the Grenadines, apart from this particular issue, that we are on the world stage or we're entering the world stage. And in entering the world stage, do we consider or do we continue to keep laws that seem to prohibit particular activity for certain groups of individuals? Now, our laws, in some sense, had been based before on Christian principles. And this is where the debate is going to come up in society, whether us as a Christian nation or a supposedly Christian nation, do we maintain certain morals, Christian values, or are we, in a way, retarding ourselves by being kept back from not being a bit more open-minded towards person's personal needs and person's personal choices? And this is why I think that there was a bit of uproar on social media, because as a society, We know who we are, what we stand for. Our values are based on Christian principles. These are things that we grew up knowing. We tend to look at issues of homosexuality, or at least the openness of it, in a particular light. We tend to look at it, or want to look at it, in a way that it's far removed from us. That is modern westernized culture. But if we are saying that we are modernizing, we're globalized, we are entering the world stage, or we are on the world stage, do we restrict? Are we supposed to be non-inclusive? And this goes back a lot to the laws that we have. So this is why I found the conversation, or the debate that started yesterday under this particular article, to be quite interesting. Ari?
I think we have to. I think if I remember correctly, when I did law in college, the foundation of law is morality. What is morality? The distinction between right or wrong, good or bad. And that is usually how we base our laws on right and wrong, good or bad. Before, right and wrong, good or bad was determined by the Bible, of the Bible, the commandments. Now, as it relates to this, I saw someone in the comments say when the MP spoke about the agreement, he asked, what would we have to give up for trade? Now, as you rightfully said, we don't know what exactly is the abortion law. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it's not illegal to have an abortion here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I feel like St. Vincent and the Grenadines are more tolerant Caribbean countries. But
Say that again. I think you dropped a little bit.
from what
You're
I
tolerant and
remember,
not tolerant. Say that again. Or you dipped a little bit when you said it.
I was saying that I feel like St. Vincent are the more tolerant countries in terms of at least LB.
Yeah,
G?
yeah,
At
I
least
know.
LBG.
Right. Mm.
I feel like we're more tolerant in that sense. A lot of people feel like, that have nothing to do with me. I'm one of those people. I nothing to do with me. Absolutely nothing to do with me. That's your business. But to
but then you
remove laws such as buggery, I think there's an issue.
All right, Ari, hold that thought a moment. We have a caller. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Alicia.
Hi, Dave.
And
How are you doing?
Good morning to your partner there, Ari. I've become.
Yeah, morning, Dave.
All right. Hello?
No, Ari was just saying good morning.
Yeah, good morning, good morning. Yes. I can't help but listen to you guys as two, relatively speaking, younger persons. And in the morning on WEFM, we need so much more of this. I mean, when you listen to Cian Marshall in his commentary, you have to listen. First of all, you must understand why he has to speak like how he speaks. He can't speak contrary to what the ULP regime is projecting or what their vision is all about and so on. The thing about it, we live in a democracy. It's not a one-sided country. And no matter how you preach and carry on, to make that impression, impact, to convince the young, because both parties, the New Democratic Party and the Unity Labour Party, they are in politics for whatever they want to achieve, and by doing so, as you said, both of them are fighting for the young votes. Don't forget, last election, the NDP got more votes than the ULP. I don't know if that's registered within you guys. But the fact remains that, thank God, that we have, and some of us believe that we must be stuck in one place. No, 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 no. The world goes on. Whoever shapes or molds the whole world, the world has to continue. So a lot of things that are happening is as a result of the progression, advancement. You all was not so enlightened at one time. And this is what our people must realize. In my time or in somebody else's time before. And that's why I love to say I'm happy that I share both worlds. The old world and the new world. I say this because I'm not speaking as a youth in this time. But those of us who study where we came from and understand the development, where we are today and so on. We had to be a part of this, otherwise we would be left behind. And we are still very far behind in terms of our development. So when young people like you guys, or relatively young people, well, I don't know how old is Ari, but I know Lisa said she's older than him. When you start in your 30s or you reach your 30s, come on, you start advancing in age and all of that. The oldest prime minister in the Caribbean, I'm not sure if it's Dr. Ralph ever Gonzalez, but people won't want to discard him, you know, because he's still fighting up. And all of these things you got to look at and so on. While we talk about youth, I want to see how the youth can make that impact. But everything don't happen at the same time. And you have to have a mix of youth and the adult persons and so on to make our society a more balanced one. I don't know if you guys agree, because you don't learn everything as a youth. Right? You still have to study. For instance, if Roleza or Ari wants to make their presence felt in our current state of affairs, in our society, you'll have to make that bold approach. You will have to show people that you want to make an impact, you want to move away from the old whatever is in place. And from time to time in history, you get those kind of people. Some of them are too ambitious or over-ambitious. But the point I'm trying to make here, do not allow yourself to be brainwashed by anyone. You have an education, and that should serve in good stead. It is important that you take note of what is going on. So nobody, I heard Roleza respond to something when Sion was finished, and I agree with you. You know, and that's why I speak like this. If you ain't just trying to impress or to convince people that your side, what they have done. I mean, we all were young at one time. The NDP had its young stars it was looking at, and so on. So I just feel that all of that first take a holistic approach or be aware, and you always have to maintain your sanity, because politics could make it talk a whole set of stupidness, nonsense. Okay. And you are the ones, the youthful population now I'm speaking to, you're the ones who got to make that change and know what they're all about. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much, Dave, for your contribution. All right. So Dave did say something interesting there, Ari. And this is why there are times when people look to condemn social media. You know, people tend to think that social media is a waste of time and all of that. But there are times when I'm happy for social media because it allows for us to have different opinions being voiced. Now, whether or not they're going to be taken on board, we're not sure. Okay, we have a caller. Caller, if you could be a bit brief because we need to go to an ad break. But good morning and thanks for calling.
Yeah, hi, good morning. You guys are still speaking on the topic of the EU Samoa agreement, right?
Yes, we are. Yes.
Right. So the name is Ernesto Cook. Following the discussion that you're having, I think some of the talking points surrounding that issue of signing on to a deal that promotes whatever lesbianism, transgender, changing laws to as such. I think the talking points would have come out from Trinidad. And I think, well, I guess you by now you know that. I went through the document.
Yeah.
All 400 pages, Ernesto?
403 pages. I went through all of them.
All right.
A journalist.
It took me an hour and a half to do so, but I went through all of them. And I can tell you clearly that there is nothing in it that says, look, you have to modify your law to implement these things, or you're not part of the trade agreement.
Right. And I think that was
There's
another...
absolutely nothing in it.
Right.
And what is in it? And I think this is where people get their points from. The document speaks to gender equality. And when you hear that today, you know what people are talking about. And they're saying nations must implement or have gender equality by 2030, which is part of the UN goals. They talk about gender responsive teaching in schools. And when you hear that in the US, you know, people talking about, well, he, she, or whether a boy wants to be a girl, talk about that, teach me this. So I think that is where the discussion sparked from. But I think all in all, we have to look at our circumstances. I think the Prime Minister was correct when he said, look, we have our own set of determinations, we have set of values or rules. We're not going to modify our laws. We have to take the government as word on that.
Right.
The other thing is, I heard persons mentioning that Trinidad and Jamaica and all of them did not sign. They are all signatories to the document. Every last one of them. So sometimes, you know, we have to step back, look for something, see what's happening, and but the discussion is a good discussion. It's healthy. The only thing I cannot bear with St. Vincent, and I've saying this since a long time when I was on radio, and even at WEFM, wherever I was, years ago, I keep saying it's a very hypocritical society. And people used to get vexed, but I don't care. That's who I am. We talk about, oh, well, you know, we're a Christian nation. We don't want this. We don't want that. All of these things that people are talking about today are here on a large scale. A lot of us have friends who are gay. A lot of us friends who are lesbians, homosexual, whatever you want to call them. All of us have friends who are in that category. And when I hear people say to me, we don't want them here, or we're not changing laws to suit them. Well, I would not change any laws to suit them either. But the thing about it is that we are very hypocritical. Very, very hypocritical in our stance on other things. But I guess that is just, if you have all humans being the same, you won't have a proper world anyway. So I guess I guess that's the reasoning. So, but I just wanted to add that part of the for the EU Samoa agreement. I just want to put my little take on that. Thanks a lot.
No problem. Your contribution is appreciated. All right. So Ernesto did raise something that
God.
What happened, Ari?
Oh, Lord have mercy. I was having some audio issues. So what Cook was saying was chipping in and out, and I had a question for him before he left. But
well, hey,
all right.
You contact him and you bring it to the air tomorrow, right? Sounds like a plan. All right, there's a clue. All right. Okay, so there's one thing that I'm in agreement. Well, maybe not just one thing, Ernesto, maybe a few things. But one of the points that I did want to bring out is that, yes, our current laws would supersede any sort of convention that we would have signed on to. In order for anything to be changed, we have to change it in the House of Parliament. So it's not a case where, and I think this is where persons may have been mistaken, where they think maybe it's something automatic that's going to happen, or there wouldn't be a national debate or even a parliamentary debate before any sort of laws are changed, right? So despite us signing on to the convention, our current laws will supersede anything that's related within the convention itself, right? And yes, it is something of national talking point, a national talking point, because as I said, persons tend to criticize social media, but there are times, and to bring back to a point that Dave said, there has to be that sort of a balance, or at least a recognition of the voices of different people, both the young and the old, those who are for change of legislation with regards to homosexual activity, towards the transgendered community, etc. There has to be that debate if we are going to say that we are, quote unquote, an advancing society. Now, saying an advancing society doesn't mean that we do away with all our morals, our principles, our values, but having the discussion is also a step towards at least letting voices be heard and maybe bringing about change or inclusiveness, whatever your position is on the topic. That would be your position. Ari, we need to take a break, but I don't know if you want to say anything before we jump out.
No, we don't have time for it. Let's take the ad break.
Okay. All right. So at this time, we are going to take a break and come right back.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's a whole new world out there. Reaching new customers and getting products faster. That's what it's all about. Ocean freight rates are skyrocketing, so don't pay more for slower service. It's time to switch to faster, more reliable